Yo, people, what you saying? What you spraying? Back again with another About the Fan, and today we got a big one. We managed to find ourselves a blue shark all the way from Manchester. You know what I mean? We got our first ever Manchester City fan on the series, and it's going to be a special one. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into any of that, just make sure you're hitting the likes nice and early. Let's get as many Shanobi in the building as possible. Yeah. Make sure you're subscribing to the village. Yeah. Hidden in the north, because we got hella missions. And to be successful, we need as many Shanobi as possible subscribing to the thing. You know what I mean? Make sure you're subscribing to Big Steve. His channel is in the title. It is in the description. It's everywhere. So there is zero excuses to not be showing him some love. You know what I mean? And while you're there, just hit the bell so you're notified whenever I go live or drop a video. Yeah, the standard YouTube settings. Yeah. So look, I have pinned the message, but I'll just say it just to let everyone to know I cannot, interact with the chat in this show, as you will know, because it will be getting put as a podcast on Spotify. What makes sense for people in the stream will not make sense for people listening back on Spotify. So any questions that you do have for Steve, just send in a super chat, and at the end, we will go through any and all questions. So look, we got one of the biggest YouTube stars in the game. Everybody knows him. Everybody's favorite Manchester City fan. He's been on the likes of Lad Bible. He's a part of the Big Six. He is known for rattling a lot of Arsenal fans, me, myself included, in title races, and also thanks to him, whenever I'm doing my streaming and I'm watching an Arsenal game and there's people in the chat that are crying, I get to sip on some rivals tears. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you're showing him all the love that he deserves. Big Steve, how you doing, man?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Some intro that. Thank you very much.
Hey, man, you know, flowers have to be given out where they're deserved, man. And I appreciate you coming on the channel. Just really quickly, you know, because obviously this will be getting put on Spotify and people don't always listen to the end. So we'd like to get it out the way real early. Where can people find you?
At Big Steve MCFC on every platform: TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. They're the main three where you'll find me. But always trying to do some sort of content. But you know, I go to most games. I go to every game, so it's quite hard to fit that in. But at least once a week, there's something you can hear from me on there.
Sweet, perfect. And look, usually I like to start with a show starter question, but obviously, you know, because you're here, you know, I'm going to do a bit different. I got a little question I want to ask before. So, like, obviously, everybody knows you're a massive Manchester City fan. Manchester City fan. But you're also a businessman. You're also a businessman as well. So let everyone know, what is Rival Tears? How did it start? And what is the vision?
Rival Tears is it's a water brand. As you know, on YouTube and throughout this football content world, one of the most frequently used gimmicks is drinking someone's tears. You know, like if someone has been giving you a bit of grief in the group chat and then their team get an L, you know, it's always good to just put a few emojis in there. We're drinking your tears tonight, etc., etc. And me and my friend, a United fan, we always meeting up in London at away games. We'd always sit down, watch football, you know, any game, and this kept coming up, and I kept saying, look, more tears are being drank today and all that. And then we got talking about it, and we said, I wonder if anyone's actually done a drink, you know, rival tears, drinking your rival tears. And then that was like the light bulb moment. So we both started doing our research. We started to buy the domain names and we designed the logo, and then we trademarked it. And then we were like, right, we need some water. And trying to find water, the journey trying to find the water was unbelievable. Like, you know, I can tell you some crazy stories about water. I mean, I've been in factories in this country where I've seen people filling Swiss Alpine water with an hose pipe from taps. I've seen everything, mate. Like you say, you wouldn't believe it. So all the waters you think you're drinking, You know, I can get water for 18p. Yeah, of course you can, mate. But you don't know where it's coming from. It's coming from some pond in Peckham or something. You know what I mean? So we had to find the right water. We had to find the right packaging. And obviously, you was at the event. It's now in a carton, so it's future proof. And we just wanted a brand that wasn't harmful to kids and something people could have fun with. You know, everybody drinks water, and water's boring. You know what I mean? Unless you add a flavour to it, water's boring. So with our water, it's like, yeah, it's water, but keep the bottle in the car, because if your mate's giving you grief on the way to work, you can do a quick little video. I'm just drinking your tears. Or, you know, the kids are getting grief off the parents. The kids can drink the parents' tears. You know, if you're in the office and your team's won the employees of the month, you can drink the rival team's tears. You know, so literally there's a rival created in everyday life, in everything. And we just thought, let's have a bit of fun with it. Let people get behind it. And yeah, it's been a great response. And you know, I'm sure you're going to see it popping up all over the place.
Yeah, and I mean the potential for branding is pretty much unlimited. Like like you said, it could even be a point where you're just seeing shots at like football stadiums, and there's like, for fans have scored, and then everyone's just lifting up the bottle, and it's like, oh, rivals tears. So like, yeah, the branding is absolute. Yeah, it's a great idea. So no, that's well played to you and your mate, man. You really did capitalize on something that probably people would have wondered, why is there not something like this about, especially in the footballing world. So now kudos to you.
We've literally had inquiries from America for the NFL, the ice hockey, the basketball. These Americans want to bring it to the States. We've had a lot of interest from Saudi Arabia and Dubai, where obviously I've been to Saudi and Dubai, and especially Saudi Arabia. The kids out there, they're football mad. So it's great for them to drink and just have a bit of fun. And it really is good-natured fun. Like for a bottle of water, £1.25, it's basically a prop for your weekend. So, you know, we're all in these group chats. We're all getting it from each angle. So it's great to just have a bottle of rival tears lying about. And no, it's good. And people are getting behind it. We need people to follow it. So if you can go on your socials at rival tears and go and find it and follow it and interact, we're just getting going. But we're open, you know, we're trying to get it out into the YouTube community, get people drinking it. And we're going to pop up at a few football stadiums soon and see whose tears people want to
drink. Hopefully they won't be drinking Arsenal tears, because I drink enough of them myself. So yeah, no, that's all great. That's all great. So look, you know, speaking of Arsenal, and obviously because you're a Manchester City fan, I think that there's quite the similarity in one sense, and that is a generation gap between fans. I do think that that's probably where we have similarities. Me myself understand, well, obviously for me it works out a lot worse, because my generation gap saw glory, and now it's pain. Whereas on the flip side, your generation gap saw literally bottom of the barrel. All due respect, you came up from the lower leagues, and now you're at the point now where you've virtually seen your club win it all. So I guess I'll ask, how important do you think it is for just football fans in general to look into the history of their club and learn a bit more about their club? And do you think that, I guess, younger fans are kind of not as in tuned to an actual football club as an older fan?
Yeah, I feel like it's difficult for the younger fans now, because when I was young, obviously I feel like you felt a little bit more part of the club. Like, you could go to the training ground, you could get access to the players, you know, you could hang around the tunnel at the ground, and players would come off the pitch and sign autographs for you and stuff. And I was saying, I was in the team hotel at weekend with the City's team, and at Palace, and they got off the coach, didn't sign one autograph. They walked around for dinner, didn't sign one autograph. They got back on the coach the next day, didn't sign one autograph. And I was saying to, like, how are these kids supposed to be able to make these people heroes when they can't get access to them? How are you supposed to be able to dream? Like, you know, I mean, I was a kid growing up in Manchester, and to get to Moss Side, I'd take 2 or 3 buses. I'd wag school. My mum and dad thought I was at school. I'd save my dinner money. I'd go into Manchester. Then I'd go to Moss Side, which is a dangerous place on my own, just to get a glimpse of Georgie Kincladze or Uwe Rosa or somebody like that. But the players would make time to come to over and talk to you and stuff. So they were your heroes. But I feel like now it's a corporate machine. The club is just trying to milk money out of you, get shirts. You know, we used to change shirts once every 2 years. Now it's every year. There's 5 kits. And I just feel like these kids, the Premier League now is a better product. And they're growing up at a time where football, the entertainment and all that, you know, great. But I just feel like they're not as connected as we was when we were growing up. I feel like they're losing that. And even at Manchester City, which is as a club, which we've always been connected to the Manchester people, with the success and the way we're going as a football club now, the owners know that it's got to be global. But what people don't talk about in this Premier League, this FFP, it's a turnover-based system where you've got to get your turnover high to spend. So the owners now can't do things for the community and the kids. They can't do kids for £1. They can't do kits at half price because they've got to get the turnover up. So the Premier League, although they're saying, oh, we're bringing this in to make it fair on the pitch, it's not fair off the pitch because, you know, you've got owners that wouldn't. Sheikh Mansour used to do kids for £1 in the Carabao Cup and stuff like that. And people used to laugh at that. But I thought that was great because I know guys that are single dads, single mums. They got kids who want to go watch Man City. They can't afford it. Kids for £1 and stuff like that's brilliant. You know, I've seen City do kits like if you buy 4 tickets, 2 adults, 2 kids, the end of season kit that's going out of fashion, the kids get a kit. And I thought, what a great marketing tool because the kids would end up becoming City fans and stuff. So, but I just feel like we're treated as customers now and not fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I know all too well because the prices to go to the Emirates just to watch the game is absolutely insane. And then even on top of the prices, like bringing in, I don't know how Manchester City do it, but Arsenal have got a ballot system, which is like good luck trying to get a ticket to go to the game. Like I remember last season, every single game that I went to, it wasn't because of my membership. It was because of my friends. I won 0 times. So
we're on a loyalty point where the home tickets is season tickets, and then there's a few open sale, but they just go straight away. And then the away tickets is loyalty points. So it's based over loyalty over the last like 50, 60 years. So, but even that's changing. They've stopped the loyalty point system now. They've introduced an 18 to 25 category where they get, because they don't need any points, they have a little bit of an allocation. I understand that and I get that, and I feel like the 18 to 25 category is good. I feel like it brings energy in the away end. You get a lot of youth in there. Yeah. But then you've got the older fans like, hold on a minute, I've been traveling around the world watching this club for 30 years. How is somebody getting a ticket before me? So you're never going to please everybody, but it's tough at the minute, like you say, and these football clubs have got to realise that you've got to. It's all right pandering to the supporter that's going to come for the day and spend £500, but if the shit hits the fan, the supporter who's been there from day one, they're your bread and butter ones. They're the ones that are keeping you going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, it's frustrating at the Etihad Stadium when people say, "Oh, the Etihad, I can see empty seats and all that." I watched Nottingham Forest Man United the other night. There was empty seats all over the place. Nobody mentions it. But at Man City, I've questioned certain blocks of seats, and I've been told like the corporate seats, like somebody like Nissan will have 40 seats in a block. If we're playing Ipswich on a Tuesday night, Nissan ain't bringing 40 people to that game, but they're paid for, so they don't care. They're just sat there empty. But you know, this is modern day football now. This is what you get.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, before we do get into it, just briefly, like, what have you made of like Manchester City's start to this season? Because I don't know, it's kind of shocked me, to be honest. Like you're currently through an awful run at the moment, which I never would have expected. Like I know sometimes you don't start the season off running out the blocks, but for it to be as bad as it is, well, I say as bad as it is, you are still only 4th. So I guess it's not the craziest fall from grace, but I definitely don't think it's what any City fan would have expected. What have you made of it so far?
No, you're right. I mean, look, we've got to put it into context. You know, we've won 6 out of the last 7 Premier League titles. We've won a treble. We've won 4 in a row. We knew one day is going to be a drop off. You just can't carry on doing that. And I feel like the club got in a little bit of no man's land. They didn't know whether Pep was staying, didn't know Pep was going, didn't know whether to save the transfer war chest for the next man or whatever. And we left ourselves light. Obviously, the Rodri injury was something that nobody could expect, which is massive. And then people say, oh, everybody gets injuries. Everybody does get injuries. But this is Ballon d'Or, centre of everything, Rodri. You take the centre of the cog out of Manchester City's team, it don't work. And we know that. So that was a blow. And it's just accumulation of things where, you know, a little bit of age, a little bit of complacency creeps in. And then don't forget, every team in this country in the top flight has been waiting for this day because they've been blaming Manchester City for their failures. We can't possibly win this league because Manchester City cheat and they're too good. Now Manchester City have dropped off. Why are we only 2 points behind Arsenal? Why is Arsenal not top of the league now? You know, why is Liverpool didn't sign a player? Why are they marching away with it? So it just shows you how good Manchester City's been. But being a City fan of a certain ilk, I said beginning of the season on the Big Six, we're not the same team. People were laughing. Don't know, he's always saying that. But I know my team. I know my team better than anyone. I watch them every week and they're not the same. But the good thing is the foundation of the club, the manager and everything, they won't let that standard drop for long. So, yeah, we might have to take one on the chin this season. We might have to fight it out and finish top 4. But we'll take that. You know what I mean? If somebody said to you, you're going to win 4 league titles on the trot, but the season after you're going to have a bad one and finish 4th, everyone's taking that. You know what I mean? But we're not good at the minute. You know, if Haaland gets injured, I think we're really in a bad place. But we just got to get to January, there or thereabouts, and hopefully, you know, we can get some signings in January. But you know, January is a tough market.
Do you still think it's possible for Manchester City to win the league?
Listen, as a Manchester City supporter, after winning the league like we did with Aguero, coming back from 6 games to go, 8 behind, winning the league like against Aston Villa, 2 down, I'll always believe that there is a chance. But if you're asking me realistically now, I don't think we've got that 12, 10, 11 game winning streak inside us. And I don't think your Liverpools are going to lose like 4 or 5. So for me, I'm focusing on the top 4. If we can get to January, bring reinforcements in, and the top 2 start to Arsenal and Liverpool, Chelsea start having a bit of a mess about, and we're still around there, then yeah, if he gets it right, we could probably do that. But right now, speaking for me, I don't think we're good enough to do it.
Okay, all right, no, sweet. So look, a bit late, but the show starter question, and these it's a question that is sometimes a bit cheeky, but it's definitely something that can't happen. It's like a kind of a what if kind of world question. So Manchester City, you know, you're just not the Manchester City of recent, right? You know, especially the ones that we haven't, you know, quite frankly, you know, the Blue Sharks are looking a bit like Dory from Nemo. Yeah. Sheikh Mansour, he's not happy. He's not happy, yeah. And he's decided to hire you to support Pep in making this 5-peat happen. Yeah. And I'm a magical guy. So you can bring back any Manchester City player from their prime years, or you can get any player that's currently playing in the world right now, 1 defender, 1 midfielder, 1 winger, and 1 striker. Who are you signing in January and why?
Vincent Kompany would be back because I feel like we need a leader alongside Ruben Diaz. I think imagine a Ruben Diaz, Vincent Kompany centre-back partnership. I feel like Vincent controlled the club with his discipline, the captain, and everything was round. So I feel like now there's a bit of panic stations at the Etihad. I feel like Vincent Kompany coming in would be perfect. Midfield, I would bring in Yaya Toure. I feel like Haaland's got all the goals at the minute, but there's nobody else that's driving us from the middle of the park. And I feel like Yaya on his day could just grip a game and take it to the next level. On the wing, I bring in David Silva. Obviously, David Silva is regarded as the greatest Man City player of all time by some people. I feel like we need that kind of player in the pockets. I feel like Pep Guardiola would love him, you know what I mean, drifting inside and just being that all-round genius he was. So I feel like David would be great. And then up front, it'd be the main man, Sergio Aguero. I feel like the little and large partnership, Erling Haaland, Kun Aguero, it'd just be what dreams are made of. And like you say, I feel like Kun's are very underrated. His goal-scoring record in the Premier League stands up to everyone, you know what I mean? He broke all the records, and I feel like he would be perfect for us now because you know, Haaland he's fantastic. He's brilliant goal scorer, but I just think Sergio gives us another avenue.
And so with those 4 players coming back, you would be pretty confident that you could go on and do the 5-peat from January.
Yeah, we'd win everything with that. We'd win.
Oh, you win everything? Champions League?
Yeah, no one's touching us, mate. No one's touching us with
that. You know, when you was just naming the players, yeah, it was really just like making me remember that you guys have had some really top players play for your club. Like, it just imagine Yaya in his prime playing now in the same midfield as Rodri. That would be
unbelievable. Imagine Rodri saying, "Yeah, there's the ball. You go. I've got your back." You know what I mean? Yaya Toure was unbelievable, like you say. And when we signed him, they said we'd signed a flop, a reject, a Barcelona reject, and he came to the Premier League and just thought, you know what, I'm having it. And yeah, he was a monster. Great pleasure to watch him. Yeah,
no, 100%. So look, tell me a bit about your journey as a Manchester City fan. How did it start? Why did you choose Manchester City? And I don't know, maybe regret is too strong of a word, but has there ever been a moment in your journey where you may have questioned your decision to become a Manchester City fan?
Well, I grew up in Manchester. My school was probably around 60-70% Reds. I was like only a young kid, 5-6 years old, knocking around on the street. The kids all wore United tops. I used to play football, but I knew of City and United, but I didn't really know much about football. And then I remember my mum saying to my dad, "You need to take him to the match." My dad's a big City fan. And he was like thinking, I don't want this 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid tagging around with me. I'm going to the match with the lads. So he's probably thinking, nah, swerve it. And then my mum actually said, listen, if you don't take him to the match, I will get somebody to take him to Old Trafford. So the Wednesday after this night, we played Brentford in a Rumbelow Cup game. And bang, I was in the car. I was on my way to Main Road. And then I remember, I know it's an old cliche, but I remember pulling up at Main Road. I remember the Kipax was massive and the lights and all that shit, you know, you say as a kid, but I do remember it. And I remember the smell of like the hot dog stands and the cold and how it was. And I remember my dad took me to the shop, and it was only a porter cabin, one way in, one way out, you know, and there was a glass case and it had a few badges in it and a few scarves and stuff. And my dad got me a badge and a scarf and a hat. And then we went in the game and we won 4-0 or 4-1. And I always remember how bright the pitch looked and how everybody knew everybody's name. Like I always remember the people saying, "Go on, John," or "Go on, Dave." And I used to think, how did they know the names? But then I remember sitting in the car on the way back with my program, and I was looking at it and reading it, and I was like, something just touched me that day, and I thought, I love this, man. I love it, and I couldn't wait. And yeah, he set the fire inside me, and then, you know, that was it. I had a season ticket from the season after. We beat United 5-1 when I was getting involved in City, and then I just was there every week. Then after that with my dad, you know, in the main stand, and I just fell in love with the club and everything about it. And yeah, I can't describe. It was just everything to me. Then school went out the window. Wasn't interested in it. Didn't care about it. Just football. Obsessed with it. You know what I mean? Manchester City wasn't the best team in the world, but I tell you what, absolutely adored everything about it. You know, loved the fact that Man United was so big as well. Loved that underdog tag. Always have loved that in my life. Like, yeah, but one day. And City fans, what I found out pretty early from being a City fan was that the Man City fan base was so unique. They had this sense of humour where they knew they were shit, but they embraced it, man. And like you say, you'd go to Main Road and you'd be 30,000 there, and you'd lose most weeks, and you'd see the same faces and stuff. And then, you know, I remember having get the chairman out, Peter Swales. Even when as a teenager, we'd be rioting on the front of the Main Road, throwing bins at police and just having it with the coppers and that, you know, because we were just mad. Like, we demanded more, but we knew we were shit. But I remember it, you know, Main Road was a mad place, and it was just a big part of my life. And like you say, it was so good going to them. Them days were brilliant. You know what I mean? I know it wasn't the days of success, but it was character building as a football fan. You knew that you couldn't take it for granted. You know what I mean? And then me and Don Robbie did the Lad Bible, and we got into this sort of segment. And I said, I remember having a conversation with a good friend of mine, and I said, if we won the FA Cup, do you think we got an FA Cup in us before we die? And he said, yeah. And I said, yeah, imagine that. And that was my dream, just to win one trophy with Manchester City. And I kept thinking about it, what it'd be like at Wembley, on Wembley Way, and what we'd do the night after, and we go on the piss and all that. And mate, it was mad. And then you fast forward it to what we've got now, and it just blows my mind.
If we went back to like that time where you're having that conversation with your friend, and, you know, Big Steve from now traveled back and told Big Steve of then, hey, you know what? We're going to win it all. How do you think you would have reacted?
I'd have probably thought I was off my head, and this was some weirdo talking, because it was mental, mate. Like you say, the club was more famous for cock-ups. You knew it was a massive club. And this is why a lot of these younger fans these days, they don't understand, you know, you can judge a football club. Oh, yeah, you've got empty seats and all that. Great, mate. But judge a football club when the club's on its arse. Not when the club's 5th and 6th in the Premier League or 8th. People are having full-on mandem talk, fucking emergency meetings when the teams are 5th in the Premier League. Try getting relegated and then relegated again. Try going to Stockport County getting beat there. Lincoln City beat us 4-0 on the Tuesday night. You know, Mansfield in the Auto Windscreen Shield. There were 3,000 fans at Main Road. 3,000. Everyone had enough. You know, so these are the things where that's when your football loyalty is tested as a fan. That's when we know if you've got the minerals. Not, I sit at home with the missus and watch Love Island. That's when you're going out to Grimsby on a Tuesday night in the car and it breaks down and you're not getting home and you've missed work and you've spent fucking 200 quid and you're rough as a badger the next day. But you go again the week after, you go in a York. You know, we got beat off York City and we were 19th or 18th, I think, in League One. And that's when you tested. That's when the 30,000 at Main Road, we just thought, you know what? We're going to back this team. Man United are the best team in the world. They've just won the treble. But we don't care. We're Man City. We're unique. We're the People's Club. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. And we just went out of pure blind faith, I think. And then, obviously, I always say we won the lottery in 2008. But the Manchester City supporters of years before that, we bought the ticket because they looked at that club and thought, you know what? That club is absolutely on its arse. And these supporters, they're there, man. Rain, sleet or snow, they're there. So, yeah, people can throw a lot of things at Manchester City, but I've actually lived it and I've seen it and I've been there, and that's why these so-called crises we're in now, it's not a crisis to me; it's heaven.
Yeah, and do you know what? Yeah, it's I think obviously it's a very interesting journey, right? I think especially for a fan. So obviously, as rivals, it's very easy to just say, "Oh, hey, you won the lottery," and then from then you just spent all the money and you bought the success. It's very easy to say that as a rival fan, but as an actual fan of Manchester City, it must have been like one of the most like epic roller coasters of a journey that you could probably ever go through. Like, because let's be completely honest, there's loads of teams that, you know, end up in League Two, League One, and they're still there now till this day. So what would you say, like, caused or was like the biggest factor that allowed Manchester City to like push through League Two, push through League One, push through the Championship, make it into the Premier League, have a standard, because they were in the Premier League before?
Yeah, we've only been in League One once. Like I say, this is what. Oh, you go back down to League One where you do belong. It's like we've been there once. You know what I mean? But we weren't in the same division for about 6 years. We bounced through the league, so you can imagine that as a fan, the excitement, relegation, promotion, back-to-back promotions, relegation, promotion. We got to 1998, 99. We were in League One. We got relegated at Stoke, last game of the season in the Championship. We beat Stoke 5-2 at the Britannia, but we went down. And then we ended up then that season we got beat off York, like you say, and we were very low. We ended up signing a player called Andy Morrison from Huddersfield Town for 50 grand. We got him on loan first. Andy Morrison had literally just assaulted the manager at Huddersfield, battered him with a chair and a table, and the guy was mentally unstable. He looked like a bouncer. If any of the followers, listeners, Google Andy Morrison, he's massive. He didn't look like a footballer. But he was exactly what we needed, because Manchester City were getting bullied. We were turning up in League One in our Kappa kits. We looked trendy as fuck. We're the big Manchester City, and we're getting kicked off the park, and we had no balls. This guy came in and went, listen, we ain't having this. Let's have it. And he just gripped the whole football club and went, we're not getting pushed over anymore. And then the fans backed him, and we just went on this journey. And on Boxing Day, we went to Wrexham, and we won 1-0 at Wrexham. Gerard Beacon scored. And it was crazy. Well, I don't drink any alcohol anymore. I've not drank for 5 years. But back in the day then, I would have been 15, 20 pints deep by 3 o'clock, rolling, bouncing around Wrexham like, I could take the world on. And we won 1-0. And we didn't look back. And we went all the way to the end of the season without losing. And we got to the playoff final. And we played Gillingham at Wembley. Man United were playing Barcelona. We were playing Bayern Munich for the treble. We were playing Gillingham in the League One playoff. In the 90th minute, we're 2-0 down to Gillingham. The dream's over. The club was finished. We had no money. If we didn't get up that year, we were dead. And we ended up pulling one back, Kevin Orlock, in the 91st. And then Paul Dickov equalised 2-2. And we went on and won it on penalties. So even when we had our first trip to Wembley and won the playoffs, Man United overshadowed us again by winning the treble. We went up the following season and we just carried on that momentum. We ended up going to Ipswich Town last game of the season. We needed to win to get promoted to the Premier League. We took Blackburn Rovers in the last game to get promoted to the Premier League. We took 35,000 fans to Blackburn Rovers that day. You go on YouTube, type in Man City 2001 Blackburn. We invaded the pitch at Blackburn. There were 30,000 of our fans on their pitch. They had to bring the team up through the directors' lounge in Blackburn to wave to us because we weren't leaving the pitch. You've never seen as many fans there. And then we were back in the promised land. So we had that momentum, you know what I mean? We got Kevin Keegan, Joe Royle got us up there. Then we got Kevin Keegan. Then we signed players like George Weah, Paulo Wanchop, Nicholas Anelka, people like this. So we were always able to sign these big players, but we were just not, as a club, just not as stable to maintain that top flight. We were always 1 or 2 months away from a crisis, and that was City's problem.
Yeah, and I mean, thinking of like as a Man City fan, what would you say is the moment that kind of most resonates with you? So I don't know, let's just say one day, you've got old to the point where you've now tapped out of like going to games now. You just on your armchair rocking, and you got your grandchildren there and you're talking to them about Man City of old. What is the moment that's like always going to be most memorable for you, and can you paint us that picture?
It's the Aguero moment. I mean, it was that season under Mancini. We started playing well. I remember going to Spurs. Tottenham fan says to me, you're going to win the league this year. And I was like, I don't know what that feels like. I know we got a good side. I think we put 5 past Tottenham. And I was like, come out the ground. And I thought, wow, we got some team. We were behind Man United. chasing them down. We'd slipped up at Arsenal, but then we beat United in the derby, Vincent Kompany header, and then it was still looking impossible. Then United slipped. We had Newcastle away on the Saturday. I remember going down to Newcastle, got into Newcastle Centre early, went in a pub, hundreds of City fans in there, and nobody was talking. There was no communication. Nobody was wanting to talk about the game. I think everyone's arse had dropped out because it was like, if Newcastle beat us today, it's finished. You know what I mean? And Newcastle, I think, had beat United in the week. So it was like, yeah, we're finished. And then on the other coin was, if we beat Newcastle today, we've got to go to QPR at home next week to win the Premier League title. So that was in your mind. So everyone was like, I remember people, I was on the toilet about 4 times in there. I was fucking nervous as anything, man. And then we got in the ground. It was the dead tense game. Newcastle were brilliant that day. But Yaya Toure again pops up, scores two goals. And that's the first time in my life I'd ever heard Manchester City fans sing, "We're going to win the league, and now you're going to believe us." And that was like with 1 game to go. We came out of St. James's Park. All the Newcastle fans were coming over, shaking our hand, "Go and win the league, go and win the league." And I was like, wow. And I remember that week coming up to the QPR game was just insane. Couldn't sleep, thinking about winning it, thinking about losing it, thinking about what it would, I couldn't, it was so mad. It made me ill, actually, because when you're invested in a football team, you can't get out of your mind. You think, oh, I've got to work. Everyone's talking about it. I'll go to the park. Everyone's talking about it. The kids are talking about it. It was wild. And then that day, QPR at home, it's everyone meeting up early. We gets down to the ground, atmosphere's buzzing, sun shining, sees a guy selling Champions flags and scarves. And I was like, mate, are you fucking joking? He was like, what? I went, you can't be selling Champions scarves. He went, no, it's QPR at home. And I thought, this guy doesn't know Manchester City, because if anyone can fuck this up, then we're going to fuck it up, yeah? Anyway, it gets in the ground, atmosphere was buzzing, absolutely buzzing. I mean, buzzing. It was just, everyone was so, like, buzzing. And I was like, right, obviously the game, we scored early on, Zabaleta scores, the nerves calm down. And then bang, bang, we're 2-1 down. Digibrel cease. It's all going to shit. You know what I mean? We're going towards the end of the minute. United's winning at Sunderland. My phone's blowing off. My head's gone. Yeah, my head's gone. I'm sat on my seat, and my mate, he's sat next to me all my life, Main Road. He said, come on, man, we can do it. And I said, Paul, I can't give this football club any more than I've given it over the years. He said, if we can't beat QPR at home to win the Premier League, we're cursed. We'll never do it. There was a famous tale about the Manchester City evicted gypsies off the land at Main Road, and they cursed the land. So everyone used to come back to this curse. So I'm sat there thinking these gypsies from 19 or whatever have cursed us to fuck, yeah. And then Edin Dzeko scores in the 91st minute. It's 2-2, yeah. I looked up and I didn't have the energy to say anything, because I thought that's made it worse now, because we're going to get beat and we just needed a goal. And then I looked my phone, the text message coming through on my phone from my mate at Sunderland, and he was there with United, and he put in capital letters, "We are the champions." And out of pure pride, I just looked at the scoreboard. Out of pure pride, I just sent one back saying, "Not yet, you're not." And as I'd sent that text, De Jong passed into Balotelli. Balotelli slid it into Aguero, and then it just felt like time stood still. And Aguero hit that shot, and it hit the back of the net. And when I tell you that I've been to thousands of football matches all across the world, I've never heard a sound like it in my life. It was literally like a crackle. It was like a breaking of the sound barrier. And my mate's dived into me. I've dived into him. I've ended up on the floor. I'm crying my eyes out. My mate's crying his eyes out. The guy next to me who we've sat with for 20 years, he's burst into tears. People are falling down the alleyways, flying over roads. You've never seen carnage like this. I wish that Man City would release a CCTV of the stands one day, because it was unreal. And then I thought I was having an heart attack. I'd had about 10 pints. I got up. I'd gone from the most worst day of my life to the greatest day of my life in 60 seconds. So my body couldn't take it, couldn't breathe. Plus the fact my mates wrapped around me got me in a chokehold. And it was unbelievable, mate. I can't describe it. It was unbelievable. And then when it calmed down and I started to realise, and then they blew the whistle, I was gone, mate. I was on the pitch. I just went for it. I thought, fuck it, I don't give a shit. We're going. So I gripped my mate, who I've been with all my life, and we skipped over the advertising hoardings. And me and my pal, who've been from Main Road to the Etihad, we're running around that pitch and sliding on our knees and hugging each other with random strangers. And Manchester City were Premier League champions. And we've done it the best way, because what we did is we dragged Man United to the depths and we just teased them a little bit. We let them have one handle. And then right at the last minute, we pulled it away. So to see them all singing "We Love United" at Stadium of Light, and then it get took away, and then see Alex Ferguson's kite on the telly, and see all the Sunderland fans doing the Poznan and that, you'll never beat it. And then the coming into Manchester, thousands of people driving down the streets, the car horns were beeping, going into the city centre. There was hundreds of people everywhere in the fountains. It was just, no, you'll never ever be able to take that away from me, ever. And like you say, that night was unreal. I had a week off work because I couldn't go in work. I was fucked. I just went on the piss for a week. I just basically got up in the morning in my duds, watched the Aguero goal every day, and just lived the moment. Phoned whoever was at, are you in work this week? No. Are we going on the bender? Yeah, let's have it. And we just had it for a week. And yeah, man, it was so good. And I couldn't believe it. I still can't believe it now. And of all the players, man, Sergio, little Argentinian, come to Manchester, that for it to fall to him, you wouldn't want it falling to anyone else. And he buried it.
And I mean, perfect way to lead on to the next parts. Obviously, I didn't know this, and there may be a few people in the chat that are listening that didn't know this either. But your two favorite Manchester City players of all time are Kinkladze and Aguero. Why is that?
Kinkladze was anyone that watched Georgie would realise how good he was. He was well ahead of his time, and he was a diamond in the rough for us. We were terrible, but we always had this Kinkladze. He was the man. We all went to watch Gio Kinkladze. That was it. He would grab a game by the scruff of the neck. He would jink round players. He'd have defenders dancing in his wake. So for me, he was like my first real hero. Someone I could get my teeth into. You know what I mean? He was like a foreign player, Georgian player. They had the name Kinkladze. You know what I mean? You're a kid and you're like, well, I want Kinkladze on my shirt. But he could back it up, you know, and we were fighting off big teams for him all the time. But he had a bit of loyalty to Man City. He loved the club. He loved the fans. And he was the one, just as a kid, when you get a hero as a kid, someone that you look up to, I looked up to him. And he gave me so many good times in dark places, so many away games where we thought we'd lose and Georgie pulled some out of the hat. So for me, he was the man growing up. And obviously, Kun Aguero took Manchester City to the next level. He was unbelievable. He come to the Premier League. He was small, tiny Argentinian. Do you know what I mean? The Premier League's too big for him. He's physical. He can't come to the Premier League and knock these big defenders off their patch. He's too small. And he just destroyed it. You know what I mean? He leading goal scorer of Manchester City history. He broke Thierry Henry's records. You know what I mean? He did things that, and then like you say, the most important things that when we needed him, Kun Aguero turned up. And for me, he is what Manchester City are all about, and I think he was just took the club to a next level on and off the pitch. What he achieved, and the fact he stayed there for so long, people said it was a stepping stone, or he'll move on to Real Madrid, he'll do this, he'll do that, and he didn't. And he loves the club, and you see him now, and he loves the club. And yeah, he was just brilliant, Sergio. He was so many good times with Aguero. You know, Old Trafford, dancing through the defence at Old Trafford, smashing it in 6-1 at Old Trafford. Aguero's there. Semi-finals of FA Cups, finals, he scored, you know. So for me, yeah, Kun, he won't be beaten.
Would you say he's a club legend?
Oh yeah, unbelievable. There'll be a stand named after him soon. I think that new North stand will be named after him. He's the leading ever goal scorer in the club, so he's broke every record. And like you say, Premier League wise, you know, every record on set, Aguero broke it. So it's you know, we don't get the credit. If he played for Arsenal or Man United or Liverpool, it'd be the greatest ever. But because it's Man City, it's not popular to say that. But for me, I don't care what anyone thinks. Aguero, I've got him tattooed here on my arm there. Aguero.
Oh, wow. Okay,
So
okay.
he's my man. So yeah, never let us down. Never moaned off the pitch. Never caused the club any issue. Week in, week out, turned up. Give me the boots. Let me play. Legend.
Do you think you get a statue? Do you think a statue is possible?
He's got one. He's got
Oh, he's
one.
got one already.
He's got one.
Okay, the stadium. Okay.
Got a statue.
I didn't know
He's
that.
got a statue. David Silver's got a statue. Vincent Kompany's got a statue.
Okay, and
All around.
is there any statues of like any players from?
Yeah,
like,
these Colin Bell, Franny Lee, Mike Summerby. They were the boys back in the 60s and 70s that won the league and the European Cup Winners' Cup and stuff like that. So there's statues of them there. I mean, with City's recent history and the things they've done, you know, you could put loads of statues. We won the treble. We won 5 trophies in one season. It's never been done, you know. The treble, World Club Cup, Super Cup. You know, you could put them trophies there. The next one will be Pep. I mean, what he's done. You know what I mean? Yeah. The unique things he's done. So, but yeah, Aguero, man, different level.
You know, maybe just quickly because you mentioned Pep. Maybe a tricky one. But do you think that he's actually surpassed Sir Alex Ferguson?
Listen, Sir Alex Ferguson is a fantastic manager, and he brought so much grief to me growing up as a kid. But you've got to respect Alex for what he did. Fantastic. My argument with it is this. Pep's only been there for 9 years. Alex was there for 24. It's a numbers game with Alex. Obviously, if Pep was there for 24, it'd be madness. But you've got to think the unique things that Pep Guardiola has done in this league in a short space of time. 100-point centurions would never be done in the history of English football. They said he done it. Then they said you never win 3 in a row, like Man United, but we won 4 in a row. Then they said Alex Ferguson himself said you can't win every domestic trophy in England. It's impossible. Pep Guardiola did it. FA Cup, League Cup, Charity Shield, and the Premier League. And then he went and won the treble. They said you could never win the treble. Alex Ferguson, no one will ever win the treble. He won the treble. But then he beat it because he won the World Club Cup and the Super Cup. And our treble's better than their treble. You know why? They had a chance to stop our treble. We beat them in the FA Cup final. They could have ended the treble dream, but they didn't. They weren't good enough. So I think as far as unique moments in Premier League history, Pep Guardiola in 9 years has surpassed Alex Ferguson. And also, Pep Guardiola has destroyed football around the world. Everybody wants to play the Pep way. Nobody wants to play the Ferguson way. What even is the Ferguson way? Do you know what I mean? So I'm not disrespecting him. United fans will say Fergie. I'm saying Pep, but I'm just laid it out there. The unique things in English football that have been done in history. We talk about history a lot. Manchester City's got no history apparently, but I've just named you 4 or 5 things there that are going down in history. They've never been done. So for me, it's Pep.
Okay. No, I hear it. And I mean, just quickly back to your favorite players. So both of them in their prime, you can bring either one of them back now into this Man City squad. Who are you choosing and why?
I'd love to see Kinkladze in this squad, just because I think that was the level he deserved as a player. I thought Kinkladze deserved that level. But obviously, I've seen what Sergio brings to the table, so I know what I'm getting with him. Kinkladze in the Premier League, never really seen it, couple of seasons. But with Sergio, you're getting 20, 25 goals a season, and you're getting key moments. Sergio Aguero, he's there. So I'd take Sergio back.
Okay. And do you think okay, so you got prime Sergio in your team, and obviously you've got Erling Haaland, yeah? Do you think Sergio benches Haaland, or do you think Haaland benches Sergio?
Sergio benches Haaland.
Okay. I only had to ask because I was having this. I
tell you the difference. If we're playing with 2 out-and-out wingers that cross the ball in the box every now and then, Haaland benches Sergio. But City don't play like that. So Haaland 90% of the time is doing nothing until the ball comes to him. Aguero could drop deep, link up the play, thread the ball through to him, come wide, score from outside the box, do everything. So for me, I just think that Aguero would be the first choice at the minute.
Okay. Oh, we're in alignment then. I was having a little debate with a fellow Arsenal fan about it, and he was telling me that Haaland benches everybody, and I was like, ain't no way that
Tell
Haaland.
the Arsenal fan to go on Sky. They do a little thing, 100 Club or something, and there's an Aguero a 100 Club one out there. Watch that and see the range of goals from Sergio Aguero, and it will blow your mind. You forget a lot of the things for the size of him. You forget a lot of the things that happens.
Yeah, he was an absolute. I still to this day I wish that Arsenal could have signed him. I like when he went to Man City. I was like, wait, how have we allowed Sergio Aguero to go to Man City? It's one of the transfers that did annoy me, but he went on to have a lot of success with you guys and proved everybody wrong. So yeah, no, kudos to him, man. So just a bit about your journey as a football content creator. I know you're very you're very in tune with Manchester City as a club. You've worked with loads of different people across, I guess, the football and content creation space. I guess how and why did it start? Like, why did you decide to start, I guess, talking about football to all of us in the world?
First of all, I'm not a content creator. I've never have been. Like I say, I'm a fan. I'd never understood YouTube. I don't understand YouTube now. My videos I send to Daps. Daps puts them on my channel. I'm absolutely useless. I came out of Wembley. We played Arsenal. I think you beat us in the semi-final or something one time. And I seen everybody having this big row on the road. I walked past. Someone said something. I'd said something. Guy gave me a mic. I ended up destroying him. Not intentionally, just literally. It was just easy because the guy was waffling bare shit. And then when I walked away, a guy chased me down. He's like, whoa, you need to do some stuff for me. And it was Joel Bayer. You know Joel Bayer?
Yeah.
Cheeky Sport. And he said, look, can you start doing these little 60-second Manchester City previews for me? So I said, I'll do them when I'm coming out the game. So when I was coming out the game, I started doing these little 60-second things like Man City have won again today. And because we were winning all the time, people were getting pissed off. Who's this bald guy? Because Man City had no representation online of anyone worth the salt, especially not a Manchester City fan with a pair of balls that was giving it out. So I started giving it out. And then it was like love or hate. A lot of people didn't like it. There's a City fan giving us a bit of shit. And a lot of them were like, nah, I like this guy. He's honest, man. He's a bit of a breath of fresh air. So then all of a sudden started getting offered loads of work. Can you do this? Can you do that? Will you? And then the one that blew it up was the Lad Bible with Don Robbie. Obviously, you don't know who you're up against. I went to London to do this Lad Bible. I'm in a room. They say, come to the table. I came to the table. I'm facing Robbie. Arsenal, Man City. I'm thinking, right, okay. And it was pure natural between us. And that's when he got a little bit deep about the main road journey. And I just give it my perspective. And then they dropped that New Year's Eve, I think. And my phone just blew up. I had messages from Mickey Richards, from City players saying, oh, really, I enjoyed the way you spoke and this, that, and the other. It's honest to see that. And I think no one had ever seen a Man City sort of fan point of view like that. So they were like, okay, we like this guy. And then I ended up doing a bit for the club. I mean, we won the treble. And Erling Haaland messages me frequently. I have a relationship with him as a fan and a player where he's seen me going to the away games with the lads. He'd send a message, get the boys going today, Steve. And I'd be talking to him about the Sharks thing that we did at Arsenal, which was a bit tongue-in-cheek. And then I ended up working for the club. I still work for the club when they want me to. But I'm on the overlap with Neville. But I just do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to do anything. I get offered, oh, can you come on Sky Sports? No. Why? Because I just don't feel like it. I'm a family man. I've got kids. I've got businesses to run. I'm not a content creator. I don't care about followers. I don't care about views. I don't care if anyone... I just give my opinion. If people watch it, brilliant. If they don't watch it, I'm not asked. I'm literally not bothered. I don't do it for money. I don't do it for money financially. I've got other things going on. I'm okay. I do it to basically give my opinion and give Manchester City fans a voice. And the biggest one I get is when I go to the game, people go, Steve, keep doing what you're doing, mate. You speak for us. You speak how we speak. And that's the biggest compliment I can get. And that's what keeps me going. That the fact that I'm in tune with my fan base So the things I say, believe that that's what they want to say. I don't do videos about Man United 4 times a week. I don't go online when Man United get beat. I don't go online and do this, that, and the other. Because if I did, I'd make a fortune. But I don't. You know what I mean? I keep to what I'm doing. I do match previews, match reactions. If there's some bit of topical news, I might drop a little bit of banter in there. But other than that, I basically just do what I want to do. It doesn't consume my life. You know what I mean? It doesn't consume my life, but I'm enjoying it. I met some fantastic people, some great people. The Big Six shows is massive, and you don't realize how many people watch that show. I'm in Croydon Saturday. I'm underneath a bus shelter waiting to get an Uber away from Sellers Park on my own with my hood up. The bus driver's jumped out of his cab, run across the road. Big Steve, you're my favourite on the Big Six. Give me, I'm a support Arsenal. Give me this, have a picture. And it still blows my mind, you know. I've been walking around the mall in Dubai. Yeah. Someone pulled me in a shop. Can I have a picture, Steve? I love the Big Six. Mental shit. But it's YouTube, man. It's massive. And that's the power of football, you know what I mean? I always try and be fair. People will say, you know, I was so fair to Arsenal over the years with Arteta, and on the Big Six, I used to explain my reasons. Then all of a sudden, when City got in a title race with Arsenal, a section of the fan base started to come for me like bad. You this and you that, nasty this, nasty that, nasty that. So I used to think, you know what? No problem. I'll troll them. And I trolled them, and I had them all on strings. But the real Arsenal fans, that when I went on like Curtis Shaw channel and people like that, and I'd speak about Arsenal, they know what I think about Arsenal. They know what I think about Arteta. But the ones that want to call me every name under the sun and get on my family and stuff, I ain't going to give them a free pass. You know, I'm going to troll them back. If you can't take it, you can't take it. But other than that, mate, I'm enjoying it. I'm doing what I'm doing, and you know, I'll always try and help other people and go on channels and stuff and try and get, you know, because, you know, that's what I think more content creators should do. That bigger content creators than me that don't answer DMs and that. And I literally speak to everyone all the time, you know, everyone.
Okay. So look, final question from me. What does being a fan mean to you? And can you imagine a world without Manchester City?
I couldn't imagine a world without Manchester City, no. Like I say, people can call it sad, but it's my life. I go every single match. I spend thousands a year. I go all over the world, planes, trains, automobiles, watching this club. I give up alcohol because I had a choice to make. Everything in my life was suffering. Every time I was going to the match, I was drinking beer. And it'd take me 2 or 3 days to recover, so business wasn't good. And then just as I start to recover, we'd have a midweek game. I'd be out again with the lads on the beer. And it was this vicious circle. And then I thought, you know what? If I just gave up alcohol, A, I'd be straight-headed. My life would be a lot clearer. And B, I could stay the night in a hotel when I go to these games, or I could stay an extra couple of nights in Turin or Madrid because of the money I spent on alcohol. So I started doing that. And like I say, I'm 5 years sober now. I've never looked back. You know, I feel great health-wise, and my life is a lot clearer. And the alcohol situation was the best thing I ever did. But it's allowed me to go and watch my football club sober, and I remember everything. You know what I mean? I watched the treble season. I went to 65 games out of 68. I went to Saudi Arabia. I went to Greece. I went everywhere, the Super Cup. And I seen everything with my own eyes sober. I remember everything. You know what I mean? But for years before that, there's many a game I forgot. Do you know what I mean? So, but it means to me to be a Manchester City supporter. First of all, it means to me that I'm a Mancunian and I'm proud of where I'm from and the city of Manchester. And I'm proud that there's 2 teams in Manchester, you know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, over the years, we've seen the best of the red side and the worst of the blue side. And now we're seeing the best of the blue side, and we're seeing a little bit of the bad for the red side. So, but I represent Manchester City Football Club as a fan. I represent my fans on these platforms. I feel like I'm their voice. And lastly, I represent myself. I'm a 43-year-old, bald Manchester City fan from Manchester that before Stuart Pearce came as manager, I had lovely blonde hair. I had plenty of money in the bank, and I was engaged. But when Stuart Pearce left, I had no hair, no money, and no bird. So this is what football does to you people. But anyway, we've won the treble. I don't give a shit. Champions of Europe, you'll never sing that. Sang it.
You must just have that feeling of like you've just clocked football, like you've just completed football. Football's complete now. Like no matter what happens from now, you've seen all of the things that any fan could arguably want to see their club do. You've seen it all. So pretty much from now, anything else is a bonus. It must be a beautiful place to be in, and I hope to get there real soon. I can't lie.
Listen, it's sensational, and it's what you dream of, and the things you tick off. And I've done it, and like I say, I can sit back. We talk about with your grandkids. Granddad, did you go to Istanbul? Yeah. What was it like when Rodri scored? Yeah. What was it like afterwards? Did you go to the Super Cup in Greece? Yeah. What was it like in Saudi Arabia when Kyle Walker lifted the thing? Did you go to the 6-1 at Old Trafford? Did you go to the 5-1? Did you go to this? Was you there at Arsenal that year we won? Jack Grealish scored. Yeah, I've got it all. So I'll be one of these old, bald guys in the old folks' home, stinking of piss, talking about Man City all day. That'll be me. But I'll be happy.
Oh, man. That's brilliant. Well, look, I just want to say again, massive thank you for your time. I really appreciate, you jumping on the channel and sharing a bit of your story with myself and, a lot of my community. Massive pleasure. People, just make sure on the way out, you're doing a few things. One of them is liking the video. The other thing is commenting on the video just to get the algorithms pumping, and get this content out there to more beautiful people in the world. Make sure you are subscribing to Big Steve's channel and supporting him on all socials. It is in the title. There is no excuse. Make sure you are subscribing to this channel. And I am going to be sending you over to Dan Potts, so just make sure you jump in his channel. Oh, wait, we just had a super chat. How was it like growing up with United being on top and you lot in the mud? Do you have Reds in your family? And are you ready for the mid-off on Sunday?
Yeah, I've got some of my closest friends are Reds. A lot of my family are Blues. Growing up, it was tough because you was looking over there with jealous eyes. I mean, I remember United in the FA Cup final against Crystal Palace, watching it at home. I remember all of the kids on the street singing, "We're on the march with Fergie's army. We're all going to Wembley." I'm just stood there with my ball thinking, what the fuck's Wembley? You know what I mean? I didn't have a clue. But I remember all these things. And like you say, it was always growing up. And then you get to the teenage years and you get a little bit angry with it and you get a bit jealous with it. And you want that, don't you? They're all going to European games and you're off to like fucking Morecambe or somewhere random. And then, you want that. But it's character building. I went through it. It wasn't easy, but thank God. People say to me, Alex Ferguson, he ruined your childhood. And I say, yeah, he did. I say, but Pep Guardiola's ruining your adult life. There is actually kids now growing up. We know dads, because the dads come home from the match pissed up. They smashed the gaff up and his birds threw him out. So I'd rather go home from school in the 90s and have no phone or social media and get my head down, rather than come home from a match and get terrored all weekend on socials. You know what I mean? So I'd rather do it. When you're a kid, you take it on the chin. But when you're an adult, I couldn't be dealing with this daily ridicule that they're getting now. So I'm glad it's this way around, man. I'm glad it's this way around.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for the mid-off. Don't bit of a disrespectful mid-off. I think you're 13th, we're 4th. You know what I mean? So let's not go down that road just yet. Yeah. This is the Ineos era we're talking about. You know what I mean? This is the new regime. Omar Baradi, Sir Jim, the roof's still leaking, all that nonsense. But the game. I'm ready for it, man. I'm ready for it.
Those three. And then, just from SG, big up Hooks and Big Steve. Big Steve, I respect your opinion about Arsenal, but about Arteta, he's a nearly man that won't get us over the line. And I'm sure that everybody has. I'm sure as a Man City fan, you probably have a bit of a soft spot for Arteta because of all of the stuff that he did while at your club. But
I just know he's a good coach because the players that I spoke to about him were devastated when he left. And this is what I was trying to say. On the Big Six show at the time, Turkish was in the mud. Arsenal were chopping and changing managers. It just looked like a joke. Tottenham had just got Antonio Conte. Everyone was happy. Tottenham looked like the bollocks. just had the Champions League final. Switch that now. Arsenal are dancing at the top table. They're coming there or thereabouts. They're going. You can't just win. It doesn't work like that. But you better be where you are, challenging and just getting there. Like Liverpool were getting. Imagine how Liverpool felt when they lost the league by a point and stuff like that. So you're better to be where you are than where Tottenham are. Tottenham has just gone back to being Tottenham. You know what I mean? So I feel like he's probably got one more season, Arteta, because then the plan that you've all bought into has not quite worked. So he's got to win something, because the team you've got and the level of football you're playing deserves to win something. I just feel you're a striker away from doing that. We had this on the Big Six last night. I feel like Kai is not quite the same. And I feel like you look all around the team, the defence, the midfield looks the part. Then you get to the top and it stinks a little bit down the middle. But if you can get an Osimhen or a Gyökeres or someone of that stature, I feel like he might take you to the next level.
All right, sweet. No, perfect. Well, people, we are going to be out now. Just make sure you're sending the Hooks raid when you go over to Dan Potts' channel. Show Big Steve some love, and we'll catch you next time.